But just before the scores were announced, the lights dimmed and a surprise video began playing on the big screen. It showed Emma's prototype being used by schoolchildren in a rural village. The footage had been submitted anonymously. Dr. Marin smiled faintly. "We didn't request this, but it proves something important." Emma stared at the screen, stunned. Someone out there believed in her more than she realized. When the final scores were announced, Emma didn't move. Her name had been called as the winner, but it took a moment for the words to sink in. The room erupted in applause, but she just stood there, blinking at the screen showing those children smiling, holding her small device like it was something magical. In that moment, the prize money, the recognition, even the title, none of it mattered more than seeing her work actually helping people. That was the real reward. After the ceremony, several judges approached her, not with rehearsed compliments, but with genuine curiosity. One of them asked how she managed to keep the designs so affordable. Another offered to connect her with a non-profit that could distribute her idea globally. And Dr. Marin? He just gave her a nod that said everything without needing words. Later, Emma learned it was him who had submitted the village footage, had contacted a field organization quietly, just to verify if her design was truly making an impact. The competitors who had once mocked her now avoided eye contact. But Emma didn't hold grudges. She had no time for that. She returned home with a head full of plans and a heart ready for more work. Her so-called simple skills had turned out to be exactly what the world needed. So when people talk about innovation now, they might not mention buzzwords or flashy tech first. They might talk about Emma, the girl they underestimated, until she changed the game with a tool and a purpose. Emma's name was called. The room fell into a strange hush as she walked to the stage, clutching her small binder and prototype. The spotlight hit her face, and for a brief second, her mind went blank. Rows of suited professionals stared up at her, clipboards in hand, waiting to judge. She swallowed hard, set her project down, and took a breath. Behind her, a screen lit up with a single hand-drawn diagram. No flashy animation, no pre-recorded hype video, just Emma's voice. "This solution was built for people who don't have access to the latest tech," she began. "It's not complicated. It's meant to work, even where the internet doesn't." Some of the judges shifted in their seats. One of them raised an eyebrow. The competitors backstage leaned in, watching, some smirking, others frowning, confused. Emma explained how her tool could bring low-cost energy to off-grid communities using recyclable materials and basic components. She didn't sell a dream, she showed results. Field tests, community use cases, and a live demo. The prototype powered a small fan, then a light, using only what she carried in her bag. But just as she reached the end of her pitch, a panelist interrupted. "This isn't scalable," he said. "Where's the market potential? Where's the innovation?" Emma froze. For a moment, everything around her blurred. That one sentence could undo it all. Then she noticed Dr. Marin sit forward, pen tapping against his notes. He wasn't looking at her prototype. He was looking at the crowd's reaction. Something had shifted. Before Emma could respond to the panelist's challenge, Dr. Marin cleared his throat and leaned into his microphone. "Actually," he said calmly, "this may be the most scalable idea we've seen today." The room turned quiet again, but this time the silence was heavier, charged. "We've spent years funding high-tech concepts that never made it past the lab. This is field-ready. It solves a global problem, especially in developing regions, and it's working with scraps." The panelist who had dismissed her didn't back down. "It's not about working with scraps, it's about building businesses that scale and sell. Investors need returns." Emma stood there, heart racing, unsure whether she was being defended or thrown into a deeper fire. Then someone else in the crowd stood up. Not a judge, not a competitor, but a guest from a partnering NGO. "We've been looking for something just like this," the woman said. "Simple, functional, immediate impact. We work in villages where this could change lives overnight." A ripple spread across the judges' table. Whispers, raised brows, hurried note-taking. But just when it seemed the momentum was shifting in Emma's favor, the event coordinator rushed to the stage and whispered something into Dr. Morin's ear. His face darkened. Then he turned toward the panel and said, "There's been a complication. We've just been informed that one of the final entries may not meet the eligibility requirements." The screen behind Emma glitched. Everyone looked at her. Emma blinked in confusion. What complication? She hadn't submitted anything outside the rules, had she? Emma's heart pounded as the room tensed around her. She stepped back from the podium, scanning the panel for any sign of what was going on. Dr. Marin tapped his mic again. "A report just came in suggesting your design may have borrowed elements from a previously published open-source project." The air felt heavier with each word. "Can you explain that?" Emma's eyes widened. "Yes, I can," she said, voice steady but tight. "I used part of an open-source model as a foundation, but I modified and rebuilt it. That's how open source works. I gave full credit in my documentation." She reached for her binder, flipping quickly to the references page. "It's all cited, right here." Marin motioned for the binder to be passed up. The judges huddled, whispering, flipping through pages. A long silence followed. Emma felt her breath catch as she waited, surrounded by stares that ranged from doubtful to curious. Finally, Dr. Morin looked up. "You're right, it's properly credited, and your modifications go far beyond the original version. Thank you for the clarification." Emma exhaled, only slightly. Another judge cleared his throat. Then we moved to final scoring. Everyone in the room looked past her when she walked in. No one said it out loud, but it was written all over their faces. Asterisk, "She doesn't belong here," asterisk, "dressed plainly." No big-name resume, no flashy intro. Just Emma, the quiet girl who most thought was nice, but never saw as a real contender. The judges barely glanced up. Competitors whispered under their breath. She heard the chuckles, the not-so-subtle comments about her simple background. But Emma didn't come to impress them with credentials. She came to do one thing: win. The global innovation competition was no joke. Thousands of applicants, the best minds from elite universities and tech companies around the world, all competing for a title that could change everything. The challenges were complex, the stakes were high, and the pressure was designed to crack even the most confident. But Emma didn't flinch. She didn't need fancy tools or a team of advisors. She had a skill no one could see on paper, problem-solving that came from real life, not textbooks. She worked in silence, while others scrambled to outshine each other. She found a rhythm, focused, steady, and slowly people started to notice. A few heads turned. Whispers shifted. What she built wasn't flashy, but it worked, better than anything else on the table. Still, no one expected what would happen when the final results were announced. Because Emma wasn't just about to prove them wrong, she was about to rewrite the entire outcome of the competition. Emma hadn't grown up around tech labs or top-tier schools. Her knowledge came from nights spent fixing broken appliances in her family's garage, hours watching online tutorials, and years of figuring things out the hard way. Her so-called simple skills were really survival skills: tinkering, adapting, thinking outside the box. She wasn't raised to win awards, she was raised to make things work with what little she had. When she first applied to the global competition, even her friends told her not to get her hopes up. "You know how competitive it is, right?" They'd say gently, like they were protecting her from disappointment. But Emma didn't expect to be accepted. She just wanted a shot. When the confirmation email arrived, she stared at it in disbelief for a full minute before even telling anyone. Now, inside the sleek glass building where the competition was held, Emma felt that same mix of awe and determination. Everything looked expensive. People around her carried name tags with company logos she'd only seen in tech blogs. Their gear looked like it cost more than her entire savings. Still, she held her ground. Her setup was modest: an old laptop, a custom circuit board she built herself, and a sketchbook with hand-drawn diagrams. It was all she needed. But what Emma didn't know was that someone else had been watching her since the first round. Not a competitor, but one of the judges. And this person had noticed something others missed. Emma's design wasn't just clever, it was revolutionary. Emma kept her head down, focused on her work as the second phase of the global competition kicked off. This round wasn't just about building, it was about pitching. Competitors had to present their solutions in front of a panel of industry leaders, explain their process, and defend their choices. Public speaking had never been Emma's strength. While others rehearsed with teams and consultants, Emma stood alone, quietly flipping through her notes. Backstage, she overheard two participants talking. One of them laughed. She's still using pen and paper. It's like she's stuck in 2005. The other smirked. Watch her crash and burn during the pitch. Emma felt her chest tighten, but she didn't react. She'd heard worse. The challenge wasn't just technical, it was about perception. In a space driven by buzzwords and branding, her simplicity looked like weakness. But she knew the truth. Her system solved a real-world problem, not just a theoretical one. It used accessible parts, low-cost materials, and worked without needing a cloud subscription or app integration. Meanwhile, the judge who had taken interest in her, Dr. Marin, began digging deeper. He reviewed her schematics late into the evening and started to see a pattern. Emma's approach wasn't just efficient, it had the potential to scale globally, especially in underserved communities. But other judges weren't convinced. She's not marketable, one of them said. Investors want flash, not garage-built prototypes. Tension thickened as the presentations neared. Emma stood backstage, alone, knowing this moment could make or break everything.